Welcome. I'm Nathan Bell, the Finance Director for the City of Springfield. Similar to last year, we're going to do pre-recordings of our department presentations, and while unfortunately we don't have that live opportunity for questions and answers, I encourage you, if you have any questions, to reach out to me by email or by phone. I'll be providing my contact information at the end of this presentation. With that, let's proceed to the Finance Department's fiscal year 22 budget presentation. The Finance Department has 19 FTE, and while that FTE remained flat from fiscal year 21 to 22, we actually did a restructure and eliminated 0.7 FTE after the Budget Committee process last year in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and its impacts on the general fund, as well as the long-term structural deficit in the general fund that we've been talking about here over previous years. Essentially, we moved from 4 divisions to 3 divisions, and we accomplished this by folding the procurement program into the budget program. The Finance Department now is made up of 3 primary functions. The first division is the Budget and Procurement Division. They are responsible for preparing the city's budget, as well as the budget for 3 other organizations. The Springfield Economic Development Association, the Metropolitan Wastewater Management Commission, and the Regional Fiber Consortium. They are also responsible for supplemental budgets. We typically do 3 a year, the franchise and licensing program, and long-term forecasting, and also work on process improvement initiatives. New in fiscal year 21, they became responsible for the city's procurement program, which is the acquisition of goods and services. It's a decentralized program, and they're essentially responsible for making sure that the city is compliant with all federal, state, and local laws, regulations, and ordinances. The budget division is made up of 3 FTE. One of those positions, one of the finance analyst positions, is actually an embedded position, which means that it's funded from the utility funds and primarily works on utility fund activities, but reports to the finance department and sits with the finance staff. The second division is the accounting division. This division is made up of 6 FTE and is responsible for the general ledger, accounts payable, accounts receivable, assessments, and financial reporting, both monthly and the comprehensive annual financial report. They also assist the budget division with the city's budget and supplemental budgets, as well as those process improvement initiatives, and perform the accounting for those 3 organizations that I mentioned previously. And finally, the court division. The Finance Department is responsible for the administration of the city's municipal court. We are a misdemeanor and traffic court, and we process on average 12 to 13,000 cases a year. This division is made up of 8 FTE, and additionally you'll see the judge on our organization chart. The judge does not actually report to the finance director, but rather is hired by and reports to the city council. However, the budget for the judges resides within the Finance Department. This includes a presiding judge and 2 pro tem judges, which are part-time positions and allow the presiding judge time off the bench as well as covering time off. I should also mention too that the accounting division also has an embedded position that is funded through the Metropolitan Wastewater Management Commission, but again reports to the accounting manager in the Finance Department and sits with the finance staff. This is our Finance Department mission, and I'm actually not going to read through this, but I encourage you to pause the presentation and do so yourself. This provides a high-level budget summary for the Finance Department. The first graphic is actually the total budget across all funds. In addition to the general fund, the Finance Department has funding through the police levy as it relates to the courts. And then I mentioned the 2 embedded positions which are funded through the utility funds, the street, the storm, water, and the drainage funds. And then additionally, the Regional Fiber Consortium, which the city provides administrative function for, that budget resides in the Finance Department, but in its own separate fund. The bottom graphic is the general fund. And I want to highlight here our personnel services from fiscal year 20 actuals to fiscal year 21 proposed and 22 proposed. You can see that there's a relatively small increase over those years, and it's less than the inflationary pressures we've been feeling in the general fund. And we were able to accomplish this through that restructuring that I spoke to earlier with the city's procurement program. And on to our accomplishments, initiatives, and future considerations. I'm not going to touch on all of these, and if you'd like more information on any of them, you'll find them in the city's proposed budget in the Finance Department's summary pages, but I do want to touch on a few of them. A fiscal year 21 accomplishment was that restructuring of the procurement program. This involved taking that fourth division, which was the procurement division. It was a single FTE division with a management level position. We downgraded that position to an analyst level and moved it under the budget officer. We also eliminated 0.7 FTE in the accounting division, and we were able to accomplish this through moving work from that division over to the budget division. This was accomplished with a partnership with the City Attorney's Office, and we evaluated this program looking for opportunities where there was redundant or non-value added work, and greatly simplified the program while still maintaining that compliance with all federal, state, and local laws, regulations, and ordinances. We've had a lot of positive feedback across the city in terms of the ease of procuring goods, and it's been a great initiative, and it will continue into fiscal year 22 as well, as there's still plenty of opportunity, I think, to streamline that process. And speaking to fiscal year 22 initiatives, another large one that we're going to take on this year is reorganizing and streamlining the city's budget document. You're all familiar with that document. It's a large document, and having produced that over a number of years, I recognize the amount of staff resources that it takes to generate, and I think there's some opportunity to slim that document down and still maintain that level of information that you need that is relevant and useful for the conversations and the decisions you need to make. We're excited to get started on this project, and I look forward to sharing some of the benefits of this as we move forward. Moving on to the court division, I think our biggest accomplishment in fiscal year 21 is our virtual court dockets. Essentially, we were able to conduct our court remotely, and starting in the spring of 2020, when the pandemic began, we really limited our operations down to, for the most part, arraignments, and pushed a lot of those court dates out into the future. As we stepped back and evaluated what we could do going forward, we realized this would be with us for a while, and that we needed to move our court into a virtual environment. Fortunately for us, we had been working prior to the pandemic on functionality that would have eventually got us to this point with the expectation that this would be a great service for the community. And we were a beta tester for our court software, Tyler Technologies, which allowed us to shape that software to our needs and processes. So when we moved into a virtual platform, we had a lot of technology in place that really aided us. And we're pretty excited about what we've done in our courts. I think we are a flagship court in terms of our use of technology. We're now able to conduct our dockets remotely with defendants and the attorneys attending by phone or video, greatly reducing the interaction with staff and the public and keeping everyone safe. And additionally, we envision this continuing on after the pandemic, as it has created an access for those who have logistical issues in terms of accessing timely justice. And finally, I wanted to talk about the impacts of mental health on the courts. This is an issue that's been ongoing, and there is no simple solution to it. Over the past few years, we've seen an increase of individuals with mental health issues getting caught up in the justice system, and it creates a lot of additional work for all those involved at every level, not just courts, but our police and jail staff as well, and the wider community. There's no simple solution. and it requires additional funding. In the meantime, we're looking for solutions that can help these individuals get out of the cycle of being caught in the justice system and get them to local agencies where they can get better assistance. And finally, my contact information. I encourage you, if you have any questions, reach out to me either by email at nbell@springfield-or.gov or by phone, 541-726-2364. Now that concludes my presentation for the Finance Department's fiscal year 22 proposed budget. I want to thank you for taking the time to view this presentation. And I look forward to engaging you and the larger community at the upcoming Budget Committee meetings, with the first one scheduled for Tuesday, April 27th. I'll see you then. Thank you.